This is Patrick L. Sullivan, senior reporter for the Lakeville Journal, getting ready to cover the annual Cub Scout banquet in Falls Village. Boys reaffirm their commitment to the Scout oaths frequently, to always do one's best and to help other people at all times. The highlight of the Cub Scout banquet was the Arrow of Light ceremony, the graduation of 11 Cub Scouts to the rank of Boy Scout. Patrick began working on newspapers when he was a teenager. He's been with the Lakeville Journal 14 years on and off, and Falls Village has been his beat for 10 of those years.
Oh, Jerry, I want to show you something. Oh, good. Jerry, can I show you something?
Ironically, the Lakeville Journal is located in Falls Village. It's published every Thursday. Each issue begins on Tuesday of the previous week, when Cynthia Hawkswinder, the executive editor, assigns upcoming stories to her staff.
Tomorrow, Selectmen's meeting, special meeting on 32 Lake Street, aka the former Lambert K building. But I don't know what the meeting's about yet, but it's going to be about the building. So
all right, I'm going to put that under our towns for now. Lambert K.
Unless, of course, the whole deal's gone. If the whole deal's gone,
That's a big deal.
Story.
Sharon Daycare will hold its annual Easter egg hunt on March 31st at 11 a.m. Everybody who works at the Lakeville Journal has to go to at least one Easter egg hunt. Have you done an Easter egg hunt?
I have not.
Well, it's in Sharon too, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And Alex, you'll on Monday morning you'll look at what you've got, and then you'll say, you know what? Actually, that's looking good for A1.
Yeah.
And it'll be something that maybe will be excess for World, or
And something may happen.
Something may happen. For A2, we're gonna have cups,
Back to A1.
and there'll be some kind of animal that somebody will find. Oh, we have a bobcat.
Do we have a bobcat? We have the bobcat.
Bobcat.
Oh, I wish he was looking at us.
I know. Well, if I get one between now and then, I'll
Do you
give
think John can send us what date he sent the bobcat in? Or what day he, what day he
Sure, I'll write to him.
The Easter sunrise service, as always, is happening there on Delaverne Hill. If you'd like a photo of that.
Of course, that's New York State.
That'll be, but it's looking at Connecticut.
She's so good.
We always look
She's
at
so
Connecticut.
good.
It's a dirty look.
They have fixed up the Connecticut room at the Douglas Library in North Canaan.
Oh.
And at some point, we'd love somebody to come by and do a nice story on it. It's called the Pease Museum of Natural History, in fact, and it's a lovely little museum of somebody's collection of taxidermy. And if anybody wants to see, not to keep embarrassing Lance, but if you want to see what phenomenal photos can look like of a nonprofit fundraiser
Corned
dinner.
beef dinner.
Yeah. This is the kind of thing you want, is, you know, the people who are serving these meals, phenomenal. Look at that, how happy, like just, these are the people who come, these are our people. This is our towns and villages. There again, serving up is a really nice one.
Is that in Sharon?
This is in Sharon, that's my friend Dave Hosier, they're cutting up the corned beef in the kitchen.
So you wearing a
Adorable
sock?
children. He has an injured right arm, that's why he's wearing his cast on it. That, I mean, that's a beauty, that should be his campaign photo.
Those are good, especially because that is a dark room.
That's a dark
It's a
room
really dark room.
with the difficult paneling.
It was a little bit of an issue, yeah.
He's good, right?
Yeah.
Because there's no natural light coming in.
Send the Gourmet Magazine photographer to take the corned beef and cabbage. Is it glistening and beautiful? That's, I would eat that.
It just got this one down.
That's very good.
That looks like wash, that looks
Yeah, I could do some time. But we do know that. We'll see him at the next dinner.
Get some schooling.
Okay, good. Hi, Wilbur, right?
Bernie.
Bernie, hi.
There are quite a few steps to putting together a newspaper each week. From the reporters going to meetings or conducting interviews, writing their stories, submitting them to the editor. The editor puts them, make sure that they fit the newspaper's style for grammar and spelling, like that. The stories are proofread, corrected.
Did you get that in?
What?
Registration for the Spring Splash opens at noon, the plunge begins at 1.
Oh. Well, I'll come, I just have to be somewhere at 1, I guess I can be late.
Well, Patrick always does a good job.
Yeah. I just love to go.
This is our check sheet. So some of the elements we have to, there are a lot of tiny little elements on every page, and as we're looking at this last page, we're checking to make sure that everything is there, that there's a little black line around each photo, that the headlines are correct, that the town is correct, because at this time of day, as we start to get tired, we start to miss these little important things, so we have a checklist to make sure that we have the advertisements, the headlines, the bylines. So that's what we're doing now, is the final check before all the pages go up on the wall. And unless it's a really, really big problem, we won't change it. So for instance, the Dateline, which is the name of the town, should be up here, but it's not, but we're not going to change that. All the ads come into our ad salesman, and then they have to be distributed evenly among the pages so that you don't have too many ads on one page or too few. And of course, these dark blocks on the first 5 pages indicate color, so we have 2 color ads on this page, and then we have smaller. So that, what looks like that in our little mock-up, looks like that in the actual page. So this will be color, and that will be color. And we mark it as color just so that they know to make sure that the photographs are processed in color.
Each time we downsized, it was at the, started to be, we made our own press, the availability of, one is to standardize paper size. Sure. They give you a price for it.
That's cool. I haven't seen it in a while, yeah.
One of the next steps is putting together, designing individual pages. This week we have an 18-page paper. The advertising production department at the other end of the building is working. At the same time, we are making sure ads either come in the way they're going to be used or making up advertisements for us. And so when we're ready to design a page, we can place a layer on our template and work around that, putting in photographs and news stories, making sure the headlines are large and cover the stories. These pages are printed out, given another reading for potential errors, and I'm right now in the last phase. I've gotten pages back and I'm making corrections, and we'll print a final copy which we'll post on the wall and give a last review of before. By mid-afternoon, the pages will be sent electronically to our printer downstate Connecticut.
So,
The front page takes the longest of any to put together each week because it has so many extra elements and more space to work with.
Thank you.
Of course, the types of stories and the types of photos change from week to week. And so I confer with the editor and look at what we have and try to make each front page look different from week to week, especially for people who are picking up the paper at the newsstand so that they can appreciate that this is the newest issue. We change sort of a color theme each week. Once in a while, with St. Patrick's Day coming up, we'll put in a few decorations of some leprechauns. I look for engaging photographs. I love faces. This week we have children. This week we happen to have a truck accident and some newborn animals on local farms. The one I'm working on right now,
this will be this week's?
this is going to be this week's paper. Again, we have a different color. The
It's pretty.
top stories has to do with local marches
Yeah.
and try to put in, whatever stories the editor designates for me to work with. And the advantage of the front page is I can continue stories to a second page, so that gives a little design flexibility. And we have a variety of tools available to us, try to get large headlines, we try to get engaging headlines, engaging photographs, everything that will make someone want to start reading the story. So at this point, this week's front page has been through the proofreading process, so now suggestions have been made, and I will go through and incorporate them electronically before printing the final copy. I did pretty well this week. I don't have many changes to make. Alex at the next desk is doing the same thing I am. He's working on a different set of pages, obviously. But
I did the police blotter, which is a very well-read page.
Oh, yeah, it's the first.
It's what everyone wants to know about.
Who was caught?
You'll have to read to find out.
Yeah.
It's a little smaller because we don't have as much snow, but I'm sure summer will pick up again. Crime you can always count on. It's true.
Yeah. What's been the most dramatic?
Anything with a death, I would say, is fairly dramatic. And we had one this week.
Really?
Yes, we had a fatality in a car crash.
Was that an opiate overdose?
No,
that was
in a car accident.
in a car accident. Uh-huh. Yeah. And how long have you been with the paper?
Oh, I don't even know.
Alex was an intern here when he was in high school.
That's true.
So it's been a while.
No, it hasn't been that long.
Oh,
Good God.
So I'm doing research now for my stories for next week. So I like to have my whole issue figured out by Friday. And I start now whittling it down. I've got 8 or 9 stories floating around in my head, and by Friday I'll have 5 or 6. And on the weeks when we have broadsheet, which is just 2 pages, I then have to turn those 5 or 6 into 4 stories. But this next week coming up is going to be a tabloid, so I'll have room for more, probably 5 or 6 stories.
you write them all yourself?
I don't, no, I hire mainly, I usually don't write them. I usually like to find, if I'll find somebody who's interested in a subject, and I'll find that writer will write about it. I want people to write about stuff they love.
Cool.
And then I do write. I mean, I have 2 stories I'm writing for this coming week.
Uh-huh.
But it just depends on what the story is, who I'll find to write it. Normally, I have a fabulous team of writers. I've got somebody who writes about plants, and I've got somebody who writes about film, and I've got 2 or 3 people who write about films, 2 or 3 people who write about books. I've got somebody who loves to write about dance. I've got 2 great theater writers, and it just depends.
What's up, Eric?
Just moseying around,
Okay.
getting footage.
Mosey.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Working on classified advertising here.
Yeah. You're in charge of classified ads.
And Mark is doing classifieds.
Yeah.
Have you gotten that okay?
I did.
Yeah.
You're covering Winstead nowadays too, aren't you?
We are, we used to have the Winstead Journal as a separate newspaper for more than 20 years. Shaw Isaacson, who you were just speaking to, was the editor of that paper when we decided to fold it into the Lakeville Journal rather than have it as a separate newspaper last August 2017. So now we have more towns we're covering in the Lakeville Journal. It includes Winstead Journal brought with it Winstead, Orkhamsted, Colebrook, and Norfolk, which we're happy to have in our pages too. And Shaw does the coverage for that area.
And you're the publisher.
I am publisher, editor-in-chief, Janet Manko. Yeah.
Great. So what's the most challenging part of your job?
Probably making the finances balance. So I'll encourage everybody to advertise with us. But we're here. You know what? I should show you our first copy of the Lakeville Journal, which we have here since 1897. We've been here.
Wow.
There it is. First paper.
Nice. Getting a little bit of reflection from
Yeah,
the
I
overhead
don't know
there.
how
That's
that'll
better.
work. But it was 4 pages, had a lot of international news. Very different approach to what community weekly newspapers used to be.
This was the world. This covered everything, didn't it?
It did. It's so interesting to see what was important because it was the only way that people had of finding out about the news. Was through newspapers at that time, and they had wire services that gave them information they put into a little weekly newspaper. Now it's all local, and we're happy to have it that way. And love covering the towns we cover.
What is your circulation, paid subscriptions?
It varies according to the season, but for our press run for the Lakeville Journal, it's $4,800 a week. And for the Millerton News, it's 1,900 to 2,000 a week. And for our special sections, and when Compass is a separate tabloid, they also get a separate distribution. So we print about 10 to 11,000 of those each time we publish those. So like Health and Wellness that we did last week,
Yes.
that gets a wider distribution. It goes in our papers, but also our drivers drop it at high traffic areas throughout the tri-state area.
Yeah.
And Tri-Corner Real Estate also gets dropped off to New York City, high-end lobbies in New York City. And you'd be surprised how many of those get picked up. But here you go, Tri-Corner Real Estate.
Yeah.
That comes out every month.
That's beautiful. What else can you tell me?
Well, it's a challenge being a local media outlet because, we are part of our local economy, and depending on how it goes, we adjust. So we were at the location in Lakeville since 1982 and sold that building to Salisbury Bank last year and moved here in October to Falls Village. We're very happy to be in Falls Village. It's been a very welcoming town. We have covered Falls Village for decades and decades, and though it's called the Lakeville Journal, we see ourselves as a regional paper. We are, and we cover all our towns, with the same sort of focus and diligence. We certainly try to do that.
Once the pages have been checked and rechecked, Cynthia tapes them to the wall where reporters and staff can inspect them once more. This week's issue contains 69 stories, 39 photographs, and 75 display ads.
So I'm missing one of the sports pages? Am I missing a sports page? No.
It's too bad there's no way you could spell "good" for that, because that would be the best caption for that. Yeah. Owner, this is a great parenting news. Someone else was reading it. Sanitized version.
What are you checking for, James?
I am looking to make sure that our style is carried forward through all the pages. Looking for other small design things that will tie the page together and make the pages look a little more clean.
Yeah.
It's so convenient, but actually.
Jan, did you want a border on Jim Wexler's cartoon?
Now that all the stories have been updated with last-minute corrections, the paper is ready to ship electronically to the Trumbull Printing Company in Trumbull, Connecticut.